Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm, and you are watching first part of What If Anbu Naruto Accidentally Travel Back in Time. If you enjoy this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now, wasting no more time, let's start the story.
You might think it would be quiet in the middle of the forest. But that's not what's happening. There was a fight between two guys in a small clearing. The sound of metal hitting metal and pained yelps could be heard throughout the forest. There was, or rather, there used to be, a town on the other side of the forest. Now, nothing is left but rubble and bodies. Only a few people were still living. Once there were thousands, but now there were only a few hundred. Friends, allies, co-workers, and people they cared about were all dead and bloody on the ground. As the last enemy fell, the smell of death was still in the air. People who were still alive but had been badly hurt turned around to look at what used to be their village and house. There was no more Konoha. Orochimaru had done it, but he wouldn't have much time to feel proud of himself. Uzumaki, Naruto, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and a lot of other Anbu were still fighting, as were Tsunade and Jiraiya. The last fight was almost over. Orochimaru was tired, had no energy left, and had no other choices. That's what they thought. You're going to pay for what you did. I'll kill you myself right now. Naruto yelled as he ran towards the guy to kill him. The snake smiled and went through a series of hand seals in a quiet way. When he was done, he made a big circle with his arms. Where he had pointed, what looked like a black hole popped into view. What the heck is going on? Naruto became scared. If I go down, you all go down with me, yelled the snake before it fell over. Everyone behind him was holding on to a tree, but Naruto was too close to the black hole and started to move forward. He scratched wildly at the dirt, but his efforts were in vain, and he was pulled in. Naruto! Almost everyone shouted. The hole closed, leaving one more dead person for the people to mourn along with all the others. Naruto was in the strange hole. At first, everything was black, which seemed to be taken up by red. Then, Naruto saw a bright flash of light, and everything went white. He shut his eyes to try to protect them. He opened his eyes when the pain that felt like he was being torn apart stopped. At first, he wasn't sure where he was, but once his eyes got used to the light, he knew where he was. In his room, on his bed and in his flat. He got up and turned to look out the window. He saw that Konoha was still there and that the mountain had only 4 sides. He also saw that the windowsill was a great place to rest his head. Okay, now I'm confused. What the hell happened? Naruto was shouting to himself. He went to the toilet and washed his hands. As he looked in the mirror, he saw himself. He saw how short his hair was. He cut it off a long time ago to look more like his dad. He was thinking about something when he heard someone laugh. What does this have to do with you, Fox? Kitsune was laughing, so Naruto asked her. In fact, yes. The snake bastard's jutsu was a doorway. It was supposed to send you back to the beginning of time to kill you, since the world didn't exist yet. Great. So then, where are we? Well, I couldn't leave you to float around in an endless abyss, so I changed things. So the red I saw back then was you? Kyuubi laughed and said, yes, and congrats on turning 12 again. You sent me back to when I was 12 years old? Are you serious? So I'm still the last one? Thank you. Wrong. You still have as much power as you did when you were 23. Also, you might want to hide your cool stuff. If you showed up like that, your classmates would freak out. But everyone knows I joined forces with you when I almost died trying to save Sasuke. Yes, but that hasn't happened yet, and all of your little friends are still alive and well. At least for now. So Sasuke, Kiba, Tenten, and all the others Orochimaru killed are still alive? I could kiss you, you stupid fox. I'd prefer it if you don't. Remember to let me know when you want to go hunting near a rabbit hole. The fox happily licked its lips and said, "That's the kind of thanks I'll take." Naruto went to see what day it was by looking at his calendar. He was so angry that he almost screamed. The day that the students at the school graduate. Then Naruto gave a smirk. This might be fun. Naruto checked the time. Just 6 o'clock. He still had an hour and a half before he had to leave school. He thought about how good life was when he was older. Now, when he was an Anbu, he wasn't even a Genin. He groaned. As he hid his foxy accessory, he thought, now I have to wait another 10 years to meet my son. Yes, Naruto was married, and in 8 months, he or she would have a son or daughter. Hinata was, of course, the wife. He had helped her feel better about herself over the years. Now, he was starting over with her. He decided to go shopping while he was waiting for the time to pass. Now that he knew how to cook, he didn't just eat quick ramen. Before getting dressed and going, he went to count the money in his wallet. As he was leaving, he thought about how little furniture he had in his flat compared to how much he would have in his house. He looked at his hands and decided to hide his claws by getting some gloves. At least he could wear the clothes he liked best. He walked to a store that sold clothes for ninjas and went inside to look around. He found what he was looking for quickly, a pair of gloves with steel on the back of the hand and at the tips of the fingers. So, he wouldn't claw anything by mistake when he grabbed it. If he needed his claws, the metal part on the tips of his fingers could even swing back. He grabbed them and went to the checker, who was reading a magazine and didn't even look up. He put in the exact price, and when Naruto gave him the money, he didn't even look up before taking the right amount. Naruto left, happy that he wasn't overcharged like he was when he was a kid. He even heard the man, who was obviously tired, say, "Have a nice day, and please come back." Then, since he had a lot of money, he chose to buy a lot more food. As he walked into the shop, the girl behind the counter was sleeping. When Naruto got there, he got everything he needed. He went over to the girl and woke her up gently. She slowly opened her eyes, blinked, and then, with her head still in her arms, began to think things over. She gave the amount that was on the screen without adding anything else. Naruto gave her the money and went on his way with a smile. Man, if I had known that people were like this in the morning, I would have done all my shopping this early. Naruto ran home quickly to put away the food, put on his gloves, and then ran out to the training ground at the school. He still had a half hour until he had to be there, so he decided to work out a little. After a half hour and many trees being cut down, the alarm bell went off. As Naruto walked into class, he smiled. This time, I'll show them who the worst person is, he said. Kyuubi grumbled, "Can we hurry up? I want that rabbit meat," as Naruto looked around the classroom until he found an empty place. As he sat down, Naruto thought, let the fun begin. In the 15 minutes after the alarm went off, more and more people came in. Even just being there made them all look nervous, let alone taking the test. Sasuke walked in and sat down next to Naruto. This made Naruto smile. Sasuke gave a snort. "What's making you so happy? We all know you won't succeed." "Oh, yes, I'm always happy." "Ah, Sasuke looks just like I remember him. He has the stick all the way up his backside today, which is a real honor." "HN," he said in response. Naruto just grinned even wider. "Let's see if we can't pull or push that stick hard. Whatever happens, happens. Yes, I'm happy all the time. Welcome to my happy world, in fact. Great, this is exactly what I have always wanted. I'll start looking right away." Sasuke's answer was meant to be funny. Naruto grinned. "Good, and now that you're all set up, you can go get your S***** and leave. Only people who smile are allowed in my happy world," he said with a smile. The eye of Sasuke twitched. He's different. Sasuke thought as he looked at the dumb blonde. When Sasuke saw the gloves, he asked in a snide way, "What's with the gloves, Dobi?" Naruto smiled and looked to his right. He asked, "Why?" In a silly way. "Because." "Why?" "I asked you a question, you idiot. Why?" "Because that's how smart people get information, not that you'd know anything about that." "Why?" "'Cause you're an idiot." "Why?" "As a child, you were probably dropped on your head. But only you know the real truth." "Why?" "Because I don't know why you're such an idiot." Naruto thought, "Hey, Sasuke thinks he has the upper hand because he's insulting me, but he'll get mad soon," and then he asked, "Why?" Again. "Will you just shut up?" "Why?" "Arg." There was a brief pause. "Why?" Then Iruka walked into the classroom. He saw all the girls looking at Sasuke and occasionally giving Naruto a dirty look, which was a great way for Naruto to keep girls away. Heh, this will be easy. What kind of Anbu would I be if I failed the test to become a Genin? Everything will be easy for me. Naruto thought as he turned to look at Iruka. Okay, the Genin test will include primary weaponry, which is how well you can use the basic weapons, a test on theory and history, an obstacle course, and primary jutsus, which is one of the basic jutsus you have learned this year. To pass, you need to do well on 3 of the 4 tests. Any questions? Iruka waited until no one put up their hand. Okay, everyone, good luck, he said as he gave out the test. Naruto went pale as soon as he saw it. When he looked at it, he thought, damn. Oh yes, in all of history, only Anbu has failed part of a Genin exam. After that, the fox started to laugh out loud. Naruto let out a sigh and wrote down what he thought might be the answers. He got up and turned in the paper after 30 minutes. Iruka took it and marked it quickly. Naruto, you did well, you passed. Thank God. Pride intact. You got a 55 inches, Iruka said happily. On the other hand, maybe not. Kyuubi burst out laughing again. Naruto put on a big smile and walked back to his seat to wait for the rest of the test. The arms test, which had 10 shuriken, 10 kunai, and 20 targets, was very easy for him to pass. He hit his targets and to show off, he threw all 10 shuriken at once. Then he picked up the 10 kunai, threw them, and kept going. All of them hit the mark. The obstacle course was also easy, but he had to jog slowly through it. The jutsu he had to do was the bunshin, of course. He did it after Sakura, who did it by making 4 copies of herself. I still can't make those things if my life depended on it. Simple things, no way, but hard things, hell yes. Well, Naruto, could you please make us at least 3 clones? Mizuki asked. Don't worry, Naruto, even if you fail this, you will still pass overall. Iruka said, knowing that clones were his worst. Behind Naruto, Sasuke gave a sly grin. As Naruto took his position, Sasuke thought, ha. That fool will lose. He went through the handlocks without any trouble. Iruka raised an eyebrow when she saw that the seals were different. When Naruto stopped on a cross seal, about 20 poof sounds could be heard behind him. The few kids who were still there turned around to see what was going on. All of the places at the desks were filled with happy-looking copies of Naruto. There were a few close to the first one. Mizuki chuckled. This is exactly what you've always wanted, right Iruka? A whole class of Naris. Iruka's face looked like he wanted to either put his head through a wall or run over to Naruto and give him a hug. Sasuke looked at the Naruto, who was closest to him. He shoved him out of the way because he wanted to be better than him. When his hand touched it, he laughed because he thought he'd found the real one. He then punched it in the arm, hoping to make it cry out in pain and move. The clone went away with a puff of white smoke after making a popping sound. He asked no one in particular, what the hell? Do I pass? Naruto asked Sasuke, who looked confused, as he got rid of the rest of the clones. Yeah, you pass. Still, wasn't that Kage Bunshin? Iruka asked in a low voice. Naruto nodded. Alright, who's up next? Iruka gave me a look that said, I'll talk to you later. Next, Sasuke did it, and he made as many as Naruto, but he still didn't know what he had done. Sasuke thought to himself, that clone was solid, it wasn't a normal one, as he followed Naruto to the other classroom to wait for their headbands. Naruto waited while sitting in an empty place. After Sasuke looked at her with angry eyes for a few minutes, Iruka told them that they would all need to be back at the school the next day to be put on their 3-person teams and meet their Junin instructor. Then, one by one, they were called up to get their bands. Iruka took off his own hat and gave it to Naruto when it was his turn, which was last. Naruto, I'm proud of you. At long last, you're a ninja. Iruka said happily. It's nice that I'm 12 again because I can act on impulse. Naruto jumped up and wrapped his arms around Iruka's neck. But because of their speed, they both fell backwards over the desk and landed on the ground. Iruka put his hand on his shoulder when they got back. Why don't I buy you some ramen? Tell me how you learned Kage Bunshin. Naruto smiled and walked back to his middle row spot. Dobi, Sasuke whispered from behind. I heard that Sasuke bastard. Naruto yelled at Sasuke, who was at the back of the room. Oh, it's so nice to be able to act on my impulses again and not have to worry that people expect me to think before I speak. Well, anyway, congrats to everyone who passed, and see you tomorrow. Iruka said. Everyone started to leave. Naruto waited for Iruka to finish talking to Mizuki. He glared at the traitor, but he didn't seem to notice. Iruka told him to go outside and wait, so he did. He looked for Hinata first, but when he found her, she was with her father. He turned around right away. Her father never liked him much. When Iruka came out, he kept telling him he was happy for him and giving him lessons. When he asked about the Kage Bunshin, he lied and said he was bothering the Hokage and found the scroll, read it, and that's how it happened. After Naruto took the food from the ramen shop and Iruka's money, they said goodbye and went home. Once Naruto got home, he changed, set his alarm, and went to sleep, all the while thinking of ways to annoy the people around him. The sun had just started to come up over the horizon. The birds had started their morning song. Naruto Uzumaki's flat had a star singer for the dawn chorus. Beep, 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 beep. Naruto, on the other hand, did not like this singer. Beep 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 crash. Ah, the sound of a broken alarm clock. It's not really morning until you hear it. Naruto rolled out of bed and landed on the floor with a thud. Damn single bed. He grumbled as he started to stretch. The mirror caught his eye as he went to the bathroom. He could see 2 red-orange fox ears sticking out of the top of his white mess of hair. He also had a long tail that moved around freely behind him. He yawned and told himself, Genjutsu must have gone off during the night. Yes, because you can't think about it when you're sleeping, it goes away. This could be a problem if you want to hide the hot accessories from your team on long missions, Kyuubi lectured. I'll just bring a tent for one person. You might also want to get your trousers on. Oh, Naruto said when he saw that the bottoms of his pajamas were still around his legs. He didn't know how he could have walked so far without tripping. But in the morning, he couldn't understand anything. Naruto was never a morning person, and it usually took him 5 to 10 minutes to fully wake up. He went to his closet and began looking through his clothes there. He held up a pair of black trousers with orange stripes down the sides and shouted, "Ha!" in victory. As a gift, the Hokage had bought them for him. He couldn't remember why he hadn't worn them. He also took out a black t-shirt and dressed himself. He tied the orange jacket he always wore around his waist. He made toast for breakfast, put the Genjutsu back where it belonged, and was out the door by 7. He hurried to the school, where Hinata was the only thing on his mind. As he went to the academy, he passed Ino and Sakura who were arguing, but they claimed not to notice him. Immediately, he went to where Hinata was sitting. She saw that he was coming towards her, and her face turned bright red. Hello, Naruto. I'm glad we both passed, she said so quietly that Naruto could barely hear her. Yeah, me too, he said with a smile. Hinata turned a darker shade of red when she heard him answer. So, Hinata, what are you up to tonight? She stopped right away when she heard the question. No, she said shakily. Well, how about we do something tonight? Naruto asked with pleasure. She was shocked. Like a date? She asked. Sakura and Ino had stopped fighting and were now paying close attention to what was going on. No, not like a date, a date. What about a meal? Can you pick me up at the school at 8? Naruto said. The local monster said, if her face turns any more red, she's going to pass out from all the blood on it. Why yes. Hinata let out a scream, then fell backwards and passed out. Naruto grabbed her and gently put her on the desk in front of him. Even though she was still very red, it looked like she was sleeping on the desk. What did you do to her, Naruto? As he got closer, Kiba asked. Then Naruto noticed that everyone was staring at him. Sasuke even turned around and raised an eyebrow. Naruto nervously rubbed the back of his head. I just asked her on a date, and she passed out. She at least said yes. Kiba went up to him and gave him a slap on the back. Congratulations on your first date. Naruto grinned. Akamaru barked at his owner. Hey, you do smell different. Did you spend the night in a fox den or something? Kiba asked as he scratched the dog's head. Huh, but why? Naruto asked nervously. Well, usually a small fox has been sent after you, but today it smells stronger. You got a new animal? Yeah, that or something like that. Iruka stepped in and cleared his throat to get everyone's attention. Okay, then, please sit down. First of all, I'd like to say that Mizuki won't be coming with us because of a bad accident. He trailed off. Naruto thought, stupid guy must have been caught trying to steal the scroll. Anyway, I'll tell you who your 3-person team and Junin instructor will be. A lot of the same things happened as before. I can't believe I have to hang out with Naruto. Arg. At least I'm with Sasuke, he thought. Boo Naruto yay Sasuke. Cha. As they went down to the room where they would meet their Junin teacher, Sakura thought. Sasuke thought, they're both stupid, and this team of 3 is too big. But Naruto got a little off track. No, that's too small. Give me something big. How about setting a series of traps? Yeah. All of these tricks will keep coming at him, and he won't know what hit him. God, I love being young again. This made Naruto laugh evilly out loud, but only Naruto could hear the fox. When Naruto laughed in an evil way, his friends gave him a strange look. He didn't notice, though, because he was laughing meanly at the ceiling. Sasuke rolled his eyes as he thought, great, I'm stuck with someone who should be in a padded room. Sakura thought, note to self, help Naruto get mental help. As they waited in the room, time went by and the two of them became more and more interested in what Naruto was doing. Sakura was the one who gave in first. What are you doing, Naruto? She asked in an angry voice. Teaching the teacher a lesson about being late, Naruto said, without even turning to look at Sakura. Aha. So where are you going to take Hinata tonight? Out for ramen? Sakura asked as she turned into a girl. Don't know and no, Naruto said as he went back to work. She was shocked. You're not taking her for ramen? She asked. No. But do you know where to get good smelling candles? Lavender and lilac? When Naruto finally stopped what he was doing and looked up, he asked. Hinata was fond of lilacs. He even used them to ask her to marry him. Flashback. Hinata, who was laughing, asked, Naruto, where are you taking me this time? Somewhere truly unique. Don't look, and don't use your Byakugan either, Naruto told Hinata as he led her up to the top of the Hokage statue with her eyes covered. Are we nearly there yet? Hinata was impatient and asked. Wait a minute. When Naruto let go of her shoulders, he yelled. He ran about 5 meters away, turned around, and came back. Okay, you can take the blindfold off now. As Hinata reached up for the blindfold, Naruto said in a happy tone. She blinked to get used to the bright light. She could now see a tree, so she looked around to see where they were. She saw a cliff to her right and started moving towards it. She gasped when she saw what it was. There were lilacs down in the field. But some of them were cut down, showing the green stems between the purple ones. The flowers that had been cut down sent a clear message. Hinata, will you marry me? The message said. She almost screamed with joy as she read it. She turned around to see Naruto a few feet away, kneeling on one knee with a big bunch of lilacs in one hand and a ring with 3 diamonds on it in the other. They came from the ones he cut up to spell out the message. He had a happy smile. She was so happy that she couldn't hold it in and ran towards Naruto with her arms open. Yes. Yes. She yelled so loudly that almost the whole town could hear her, of course I will. If she wanted to, she could yell louder than Naruto. Hey, hey, hey. Wait. Naruto yelled, stopping Hinata in mid-lunge. Hinata didn't understand what he was doing, but he was still the ninja who surprised her the most. Naruto got up from his knee, walked over to his fiancée, took her hand, and put the ring on her finger. He then walked back to where he was, set down the bouquet, and turned to face Hinata. Alright, go on. He said with a smile. Then she lunged again and grabbed his neck with both arms. I love you, she said in a happy voice through happy tears. Hinata, I love you too, and I always will, he replied in a whisper. Then they kissed, knowing that they would be together for the rest of their lives. End flashback. Sakura said, there's a store in town that sells all kinds of things like that. Ew, thanks. Naruto smiled and then went back to the paper he was holding. Sakura went back to her place so she could wait for the teacher. Naruto rolled up the paper he was writing on, got up, and walked to the back of the classroom. He walked up to the door with a metal bucket and carefully set it on top of it. Then he sat back down with the rest of his team. You idiot, if he's a Junin, he's not going to fall for such a stupid trap, Sakura said as she raised her fist to hit Naruto on the head. When the man opened the door, the bucket crashed down on his head. Naruto began laughing. Sakura gasped. Cha. Got, I am. Inner Sakura yelled. Sasuke cocked his head. The man turned to face them while still wearing the bucket on his head. Well, from what I've seen so far, I hate you all. He said with a smile. We both feel bad about you being late. Naruto said. Right, I'll meet you all on the roof, he said, trying to pull the bucket off but finding that it was stuck. Naruto, did you put any glue in there? Sakura asked. Yeah, kind of like that. As Sasuke and Sakura turned to leave, Kakashi finally took the box off his head. He was giving Naruto a hard look. He thought, that kid used chakra to stick this thing to my head. If this is the last one, that Sasuke kid must be a high Chunin. Come on, Kakashi-sensei, don't be late. Naruto screamed and ran away. I haven't yet told him my name. Kakashi said as he farted all the way up to the roof. There were already 3 of his students there. Okay, so tell me about your likes, dislikes, hobbies, and other things like that, Kakashi said. Well, how about you go first to show us? Sakura asked. Alright, my name is Hitaki Kakashi. I don't want to tell you what I like to do. I also don't want to tell you about my thoughts. I like some things and I don't like other things. Okay, now what? He said with a smile. Wow. Me too. We share so many things. Everyone around Naruto did a face fault at what he said. Okay, ladies first. Kakashi said. Okay, my name is Haruno Sakura. I like, she said, turning to Sasuke. I hope, she said again, turning to Sasuke. I hate. She looked sad as she said, Sakura went quiet and looked like she was having a quiet tantrum. Okay, next you. He showed where Naruto was. Okay, I'll follow your lead. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I like a lot of things. I don't like it when people pick on others or are late. He emphasized the end, which made Kakashi cringe. My goal is to make my dream come true. My dream is well known, and so are my hobbies. Great, okay, now you, he said, pointing at Sasuke. Sasuke grunted. If no one else is giving personal information, I won't either, Sasuke thought as he went into vengeful mode. Okay. Good, my team is happy now. So, we'll do survival training at Training Ground 7. Also, don't eat food or you might get sick. So long. With that, he turned into a puff of smoke and was gone. Naruto said, I think he likes us, right before he jumped off the roof. He landed quietly and started running away. It took him 5 minutes to figure out what he had done. He should not be able to do that, shouldn't he? Sakura asked Sasuke after recovering from her shock. Nope, said Sasuke as he turned around to face the girl. Are you going to follow him around? It was more of a statement than a question, Sakura said. Yep, was the answer. I figured so. Naruto ran through the streets towards the shop Sakura had told him about, but he wasn't really paying attention. But he found the store when he thought back to what she had said about a big pink-purple sign. He could tell that someone was following him, but he didn't care because he knew that if he did, they would really start to worry. He found the 2 candles he wanted and bought them for a price that seemed fair. He also bought 2 cases for them. He was only a few years older than the checker, so she didn't know about his legend, and tried to charge him too much. He sighed as he left because he could feel his stalkers following him. This is going to be a long day. He went through what he thought he would need for his date in his head. He yelled, "Aha!" and turned around to face the tree where Sasuke was. I knew I forgot to get something, Naruto said as he walked to the nearest food stand, trying not to laugh as the stress from his stalker dropped. Naruto asked the vendor, do you sell meats here? The man asked with a bit of an accent, yeah, how much and what kind do you want? About a 3-pound roast, Naruto said. The man said, yes, and gave him the meat. Naruto thanked him and gave him the money. He put the meat in his bag and went on his way. He went to a nearby fruit stand and started looking at the oranges. The vendor went outside. Sasuke and Sakura were on the roof of a nearby house. Sakura didn't care that Sasuke wasn't talking to her at all. She was just glad that he didn't try to push her away. They looked down at Naruto, who was looking at the oranges and lemons. When the vendor came over, Naruto asked, hey, do you sell limes? The vendor yelled, yes, but not to you. To get people's attention. Nope, not a friendly vendor, Naruto said with a sigh as he turned to leave. The angry man yelled, you little demon brat. Don't turn your back on me when I'm talking to you. Someone yelled, yeah, you should be more polite. Yeah, said the others. Someone threw a tomato at him, but he dodged it at the last second. This made it look like he had just gotten lucky. Get him. Someone in the crowd yelled. People started throwing things at him right away from every direction. All of them were easy for Naruto to avoid, which seemed to make the people even more angry. He had an idea when he saw a lemon being thrown. Naruto yelled at the top of his voice, oh no. Not the lemons and limes. As people started throwing the sour fruits, he could hear the fox laughing. Before he ran away, Naruto jumped up and grabbed about 10 oranges and 10 limes. Sasuke and Sakura were confused and surprised that Naruto had gotten away without being caught. "Hey, suckers," he said to himself as he ran away, leaving Sakura and Sasuke to wonder where he went. Naruto looked at the time when he got back to his flat. Almost 6:45. Good, I have to go. Naruto grabbed a pan, turned on the oven, and started cutting up the lemons. When the oven was ready, he put the roast, lemon wedges, and some spices he found lying around in it. He then started peeling potatoes and putting them in water that was already boiling. He started making 2 small salads while the potatoes were cooking. After that, he looked at what was in the oven. They still needed a few minutes, so he went to find some kind of blanket or sheet. When he found one he liked, he ran back to the kitchen, waving the blanket behind him. He threw the blanket on the table and put the plastic salad bowls on top of it. Iruka gave him plastic plates all the time, so he always had enough. He looked for the bowls' lids and put them on tight. When the potatoes were done, he quickly mashed them, added what he needed, put them in another bowl, and put them next to the salads. With only 15 minutes to spare, the roast was done. He took 2 drinks from the fridge, as well as the candles and their holders. He put everything on the blanket quickly, then folded it up and tied it. Before he ran out the door, he checked to make sure it was tight. He almost forgot to lock it. He did, in fact, turn off the oven. At 7:59, Naruto puffed his way into the school. Hinata was at the gate, nervously putting her fingers together. "Hinata!" He yelled at her, which made her jump. She started walking towards him, but she wasn't sure if she was dreaming or not. "Hello, NN Naruto," she said nervously when she got to him. Naruto said, "Sorry, I hope you weren't waiting too long." "No, it'll only be 5 minutes," she said. Naruto nodded and led her out into the forest. Tonight, there was a full moon. He took her to a small pond with a waterfall that sprayed mist everywhere. In the moonlight, the mist sparkled and shone. Naruto got down on the ground and started to open his pack. While Hinata was looking at the scenery, he said everything out. Sasuke and Sakura went up a nearby tree to look for the redhead. When he went missing earlier, they thought he might have come to the forest to train. Well, Sasuke thought, and Sakura just went along with it. Both of them saw a small light and went towards it. The second candle was being lit by Naruto, who was standing in the clearing. He had food all over the place. Hinata sat down shakily, and Sakura had to stop herself from making a girly scream. "Okay, let's start with the salad, all right?" Naruto said as he opened the packages and gave her a soda. Hinata said, "Yes," and started to eat. Lilacs, I wonder how he knew. Maybe he likes me as well? Hinata got red in the face at the thought. Now, let's see if we can't get her out of her shell. The fox started to whine, "Can I have the rabbit yet? You promised me yesterday." Naruto sighed, "Fine." Hinata, "I'll be right back, I need to go to the toilet," Naruto said as he got up. "Why do those two keep coming after me?" Naruto went far enough away so that no one else could hear him and started doing seals. When he got to the last one, he slammed his hand down, and smoke came out. When the fog lifted, Kyuubi was standing there. He only had one tail, but he was still as tall as Naruto's hips. "There you go, have fun. Oh, and don't bring back a dead body, okay?" Naruto whispered as he turned to go back to Hinata. When he got back, Hinata was still eating the salad in a shy way. Naruto sat down and started to eat again. Hinata's face seemed to get redder with each bite. After they had finished their salads, Naruto gave her some mashed potatoes and roast. Hinata told him she appreciated it and slowly took her first bite. Hinata said, "Wow. This is really good." Louder than she meant to. She started to shovel in the food faster than Naruto. Halfway through, she realized what she had done and stopped. "I'm glad you like it," he said. She looked up at Naruto as if to say she was sorry, but all he did was smile happily. She had chunks of food all over her face. A small clump of potatoes fell off of her and onto the grass. There she is. That's the girl I married. Naruto was thinking. Naruto then started laughing, which made Hinata blush. I'm sorry, she said in a quiet voice. When he stopped laughing, Naruto gave her a serviette. Don't say you're sorry, I like seeing you more sure of yourself. Sasuke was making looks that showed he didn't like the couple. He felt like a child watching his parents make out. Sakura was not like her. She had to put her hand over her mouth so she wouldn't say, "Ah." Who would have thought Naruto could be so romantic? She thought to herself. Sasuke didn't run away from Sakura, and how scary she was because he was sure that if he moved, they would be seen. Naruto asked Hinata yes or no questions for the rest of the night, and Hinata would shake her head or nod. When the lights went out, they got up and left. Hinata spoke less stutteringly by the end of the night, which was a good sign. Once they were out of the forest, they went their separate ways. Naruto went home and didn't worry about the fox at all. When he ran out of energy, the part of his spirit that was freed would just come back to him, while his body went away. Merging was good because it let Kyuubi move around in the outside world. He still couldn't be set free without killing Naruto, which would also kill him, but for now, this would do. Their souls were tied together. Naruto would die from the shock of having no evil energy in his body all of a sudden. But since the fox's power was now part of his own, he could never lose all the evil energy, which made the seal weaker. They were both slowly trying to get their souls to separate so that the fox didn't have to depend on the wolf as much. When Naruto got to his flat, he let out a sigh. He dragged himself slowly up the stairs, changed into his pajamas, and got into bed. Sasuke, on the other hand, was thinking about why he was even following the idiot. All of that thought went away, though, when Sakura started talking about how cute they were together. He had to push her right through the door of her house and run like crazy to get rid of her. Life was a lot easier when girls thought guys had cooties. The next morning, Naruto woke up when light came in through the open window. When Naruto's eyes finally started to focus, he blinked out of time. He sat up and looked at the taped-up alarm clock with one eye half open. A half hour was left until he had to meet up with his team at the practice pitch. He did his morning tasks and put the genjutsu back in place before slowly walking away. So he could set up his traps, he got there early. He was done just as the rest of his team arrived at the practice pitch. They waited for about an hour by the logs before Naruto decided to take a nap. Just wake me up when he comes, Naruto yawned as he took about 20 steps, circled his spot twice, and then lay down to sleep. Kyuubi? What? Can you watch over my genjutsu while I sleep? Yes, I can. Not for too long, but long enough for that slacker teacher to get here. I hope he likes what we made for him, Naruto thought, laughing, before thanking the giant kitsune and closing his mind to sleep. When Kakashi came back after 3 hours, he was facing the 3 stumps. He started looking around when he saw there was no one else there. He looked back and saw a group of his peers sleeping on top of each other. He got them to wake up by yelling at them very loudly. They jumped out of bed. Before getting up, all 3 of them yawned. Okay, now that I have your attention, I'll explain. You will try to take these bells from me, he said, holding up 2 silver bells. The one who doesn't get one will be tied to the post and not given lunch. Then that person will go back to the academy, he said. You have until noon to get a bell, right? Arg. Sakura thought, I didn't eat dinner either. Sasuke thought, damn, I knew I should have eaten. Ha. This time I ate breakfast, Naya. Naruto was thinking. Go. Sasuke and Sakura jumped off and landed in a tree right away, but Naruto just stood there for a minute. He yawned and then walked away slowly. Kakashi raised an eyebrow that couldn't be seen, and then he ran at his student to make him run away. Naruto stopped, looked at his teacher, blinked, and yelled when he figured out what was going on. Gak. Not ready. Still sleepy. He said, ducking as the teacher's kick went over his head. You must always be ready for anything, Kakashi told his students as he pulled out a small orange book. Perfect, thought Naruto as he ran with only one goal in mind, to get that book. Out of the corner of his eye, Kakashi watched the boy. Interesting. His steps are even, which means he has trained a lot. Naruto threw a weak punch at Kakashi's head on purpose. Yet his strikes are sloppy, almost as if he's doing it on purpose. Oh well. Kakashi moved quickly behind Naruto, which Naruto noticed right away. Kakashi told him, keep your eyes on your opponent and never turn your back on them. Ha ha. Revenge. He thought this as he started to make his plan. Kakashi put his pointer and middle finger up and wrapped his hands around his book. He put his hands behind his back and Naruto was forced to swallow them. Sakura and Sasuke were almost shocked by what they saw in the trees. Kakashi pushed his hands up, and with a yell, Naruto went flying. 1,000 years of pain. He yelled. Aghhhhh. Naruto yelled as he went flying. But Kakashi's victory didn't last long. As he went back to his book to read it, he felt very, very bad. You should take your own advice, Naruto said to Kakashi from behind. Naruto gave Kakashi a mean grin as he threw him away with his own move. Naruto yelled, 1,000 years of pain right back at ya. After getting up from the ground, Kakashi put his hands back and covered his very, very sore butt with them. Of course, he dropped his little orange book in the process. The plan Naruto had made worked. He used a substitute jutsu on a clone. He had caught up to him while Kakashi was busy taking care of the clone. The people who were hiding with him came out looking worried. Caught him off guard, they both thought as they walked over to him. Naruto grinned. It's clear that we can't beat him, Sakura said with her head down. Yes, that's why we need to work together, said Naruto. But either way, at least one of us will fail, Sasuke said plainly. Naruto asked in a rational way, would you rather all of us fail? The two of them nodded. Okay, so this is what we're going to do, Naruto said as he started to explain his plan to his friends. He looked at their faces when he was done. Their faces were a mix of PFFT, right, that will never work, and, haha, this sounds like fun. Sasuke even had an evil grin. They set it up, Naruto's part was already set up, and then they started to wait, knowing that their teacher with silver hair would come back for his precious book. When they heard a noise, Kakashi came out with his head down, looking for the book. He kept walking, but he stepped on a wire that set it off. He got hit with a bucket of glue and feathers. On his way to the grounds, Naruto took the glue he had stolen from the school. The feathers came from when Kyuubi ate pheasant. Sakura jumped out to try to grab the bells, but Kakashi could still see, so she missed. But Kakashi stumbled into another prank. Eggs flew at him from all directions, and since he wasn't expecting another trap so close to the last one, they all hit him. Why eggs and not perhaps pie? Or, you might ask, something pointy? Naruto told the others that they didn't want to kill their teacher, just get the bells. However, Naruto already knew that Kakashi hated raw eggs, which he told the others. He told him that they would have to help out on a farm one day. His parents wanted him to grow up to be a strong man, so they taught him to hate raw eggs. Unfortunately for young Kakashi, they heard that drinking 10 raw eggs every day was a good way to do that. Kakashi yelled, "Oh God no! No more eggs!" He yelled, and he and his students ran away. Kakashi went right to where Naruto was hiding and found him. The teacher stopped in his tracks when Naruto jumped out. "I knew you reminded me of someone, and now I know who," he said, looking deep in thought. Sasuke and Sakura had caught up to the teacher and were ready to attack. "Oh?" Naruto asked, a little bit confused. "I mean with these tricks," Kakashi said with a sigh as Naruto's eyes lit up. He started to move quickly through moves that Kakashi knew all too well. And he also found the joke jutsu scroll his father had? Kakashi thought, scared and confused. Naruto stopped on a ram seal, put his hands to his mouth, and took a big breath. What? He also knows how to use fire? Damn him. But Sasuke lost his train of thought when, instead of flames, silly string came out of his mouth. Kakashi's eye twitched, but when he wiped his face, he saw his book lying on the ground by a tree. He went over to get it, but a rope wrapped around his foot and pulled him up into a tree. Naruto walked over to Kakashi and took the bells off of him. He then smiled and said, "When the bait is obvious, don't take it." Naruto threw the bells to the rest of his team. "But if you give us both, you won't pass," said Sakura. Now that Kakashi was off the rope, he walked over to them. Naruto and his team stood still and waited. "Good job, you all pass," he said with a little too much joy, given that feathers and glue covered his head and most of his upper body. "What? But Naruto gave me and Sasuke the bells," said Sakura, surprised. "Yes, that's true, but you all got a bell in a roundabout way. Naruto took them from me, but he gave them to you too. The goal was to work as a team, which you clearly do. These traps were pretty complicated. Do you get it?" The three nodded. "Good, now I'm going to take a long, hot shower, and I'll see you all in the morning. We'll meet at that red bridge around 7. Kakashi cringed when Naruto said, "You better not be late or I'll egg you again." He shook his head and pooped, thinking, I don't even want to know how he knew that. Sakura yelled, "What kind of big master plan was that?" Naruto replied, "It worked, didn't it?" "You said you were going to distract him and make him see the book," Sasuke said in a cold voice. Naruto said, "Yeah, and I did it with the help of jokes." Sakura yelled, "You are so immature." "Yes, I know. But you're only young once, but being immature lasts forever," he said, using a metaphor. "Dumbass," Sasuke mumbled. Just rolling his eyes, Naruto started to walk away. Plan worked. They don't think anything is wrong. The silly string jutsu wasn't even mentioned. Yay. I'm going to bed now. When he felt a hand on his shoulder, he stopped. He turned and looked at Sasuke. Naruto cocked his head. Sasuke just said, "Fight me." Naruto sighed, and then he heard the fox laughing. "So much for them not knowing anything," the fox said. "Shut up. I thought you were about to go to bed." "I can't answer that, I'm sleeping," she said. Naruto gave a roll of the eyes. "Fine." Sakura waited near a tree for the fight to start. Sasuke and Naruto had moved away from each other and were waiting for the other to start. Sasuke knew that, because he is crazy, he would run at him at any moment. Naruto also knew it. He had to start it, or else more questions would come up. So, he made a new bunshin and sent it out to fight. It and Sasuke both got a few hits. After Sasuke hit the clone 5 times, it went away. Sasuke started to look around, sure that he had hit at least a few things. But Naruto had learned how to make his clones last longer in fight over time. He got off the tree he was on and hit Sasuke, making both of them fall down. As they went down the hill, Naruto threw a few blows. Sakura was chasing them, and she looked a little nervous. Naruto and Sasuke kept trying to take control of each other and hit each other a few times. Soon, though, they ran out of room and rolled off a cliff. Naruto grabbed Sasuke by the wrist, and Sasuke gasped as he fell. Naruto then used chakra to hold Sasuke to the edge of the cliff. He also used his other hand to grab a tree root. Sasuke looked at Naruto with wide eyes and was about to say something when Naruto grabbed him and hugged him? Sasuke was scared by how close they were. Naruto was now hanging to the side of a cliff while holding on to Sasuke's waist. When Sakura saw them fall, she ran over with fear written all over her face. But she laughed out loud when she looked down at them. Naruto stood up while still holding Sasuke. "Oh, well, thanks," Sasuke muttered. Naruto said, "Yeah, no problem," and rubbed the back of his head. They turned around to see Sakura still laughing. She pointed over the edge of the cliff. When Naruto and Sasuke looked over the edge, they turned pale right away. The height of the cliff was only about 7 feet. "We'll never talk about this again," Sasuke said as he looked down at a small puddle. "Agreed. At least we didn't get our feet wet." Naruto made a deal. Sasuke shrugged. They both looked at Sakura, who had stopped laughing, with angry faces. They gave each other a look that said, "If you say a word to anyone, you're dead." Sakura eeped before putting up her hands in defense. Both Sasuke and Naruto gave each other a smile. "Well, that was most certainly interesting. Yeah, we already know a little bit. I'm going to get my best friend back." "Sure, a few more hugs should do the trick." So the fox stopped talking. "Maybe we shouldn't fight so close to cliffs?" Naruto asked, smiling. "Yeah," Sasuke replied with a small laugh. Naruto was happy. Over the years he'd known Sasuke. Before Orochimaru killed him with a surprise attack, he'd learned how to make him angry and laugh at the same time. They moved to a new place and started the fight over again. Naruto was easy on Sasuke and didn't use many jutsus, so they ended up tied. He started to go home after saying goodbye to his teammates. He thought that the only way for him to get good practice was to go somewhere far away. He kept on walking until he ran into a person he knew. "Oh, hi Hinata," Naruto said happily. Hi, Naruto," she said in a soft voice. Hinata turned red, and Naruto smiled. "I hope she feels better about herself soon. She is hard to understand because she stutters." Iruka. "Our ramen. Says you like?" Hinata stutteringly said something. Naruto blinked, trying to figure out what was going on. "Oh. Yeah. I like ramen." Hinata pointed shakily at the ramen bar and then started pressing her fingers together. "Sure," Naruto said happily. When they got there, they sat down and asked for what they wanted to eat. They talked for a little while. Hinata soon stopped stuttered as much and didn't blush as much. They chose to leave after an hour or so. Hinata was very upset that Naruto paid the price. She wanted to take him out as a way to say thanks for the home-cooked food. She knew she had to do something extra special to thank him, so as she ran home, she thought about what she could do. Naruto ran happily home and thought about where he could train without causing too much damage. Naruto woke up the next morning just before sunrise. He yawned, stretched, stood up, took a few steps, and ran right into a wall. Naruto stood there for a few minutes before he realized what he had done. He laughed a little before getting up, putting on his clothes, and taking a nice cold shower to wake up. After he dried off, he got dressed and started eating breakfast. He made toast and drank some water. After that, he grabbed an apple to eat later, put the genjutsu back where it belonged, and left to train until the sun was almost directly overhead. He went to a place that wasn't too close to the bridge but also wasn't too far away for anyone to notice. Kakashi said to meet at 7 p.m., so I have until 8:30 p.m. to train, given my threat. He cleared a small area for himself to train, but it soon turned into a big hole. He threw a kunai with an explosive tag at the last target, and it blew up just as Naruto was too tired to stand. Backwards, he fell into the hole. Sad to say, Sasuke and Sakura got to the bridge just as the last blast went off. When they turned to see where it was coming from, they saw a tree fall and smoke. Both of them thought the worst and ran in the direction from which it came. . Just as they got there, Naruto pulled himself out of the hole. Sakura and Sasuke both gasped when they saw the damage. Naruto sat up and rubbed the back of his head when he saw them. He said, "Heh, heh, oops," and then coughed up some dust. "What in the hell were you doing?" Sasuke asked in monotone. "Training," Naruto said in a sheepish way. Sakura said, "Only you could do that much damage while training." Naruto grinned. "I think I used too much chakra when I punched that rock." She said, "You definitely used too much chakra to punch a rock." Naruto thought, "I wonder if I'll ever be able to train without people watching me." He tried to stand up, but his legs wouldn't hold him up. Sasuke went to help Naruto get to the bridge on his crutches. "Why do you work yourself to the point of exhaustion?" When they got close to her, Sakura asked. Naruto just shrugged. He was too tired to talk. She yelled, "Idiot!" and hit him on the head. This made Sasuke drop Naruto, who fell to the ground. The fox said, "I could give you a little bit of my chakra so you could at least walk." Naruto thought to himself, "As long as that's all you give me." Yeah. This is why I have control over 25% of all your chakra." He heard Kyuubi laugh a little bit as a warm feeling came over him. It made him think of how Tsunade had healed. "You feeling sick?" Sasuke asked when he first felt Naruto's body heat up. "No, why?" Naruto spoke up. Sasuke was going to say something, but Sakura spoke first. "Naruto, the back of your shirt is really torn." He reached out and Naruto rubbed his back. "From the collar to about halfway down, it's torn." He said this as he let go of Naruto's arm. "Oh well, I'll check to see if I have anything to fix it when I get home." Naruto nervously rubbed the back of his head. Naruto picked up his orange jacket, which was on the ground near a lucky tree that was still standing. He wore it over his worn-out blue t-shirt. They didn't talk until they reached the bridge. Naruto sat on the ledge and ate the apple he brought with him. After an hour, Kakashi came. "Wow, you're only an hour and a half late. That's a big change for the better." As he joined Sakura in yelling, "You're late." Naruto thought. "Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but there was this tree stuck in a cat and..." "Wait. No. That's wrong," Kakashi said, rubbing his chin. "Yeah, sure. If you're going to make an excuse, at least make it plausible," Naruto said as he rolled his eyes. "Yes. Well, we have a full schedule of fun D-rank missions anyway," Kakashi said with a smile. Naruto said, "Yay," which was a joke. Sasuke gave him a curious look and then turned his attention back to Kakashi, who began to explain what these missions were all about. Once he was done, he led the Genin, who was very excited, to their first job, which was to find a cat. They were given earpieces so that they could better work together on the plan. They were given a map of the forest, told where to stand, and then told to start searching the area. Naruto found the cat's smell almost right away and went after it. Naruto got the cat about 5 minutes after he started. He told his team with joy, "Ha ha. I told you I'd get there first." Hiao. The three of them walked out to where Kakashi was waiting, with Naruto holding the cat that was growling and scratching him to pieces. Naruto growled back in anger. After the cat scratched Naruto's face and bit his hand, Sakura finally took it away. Sasuke raised an eyebrow at how the cat seemed ready to kill Naruto in any way. Naruto said, he doesn't like his owner that much, when he sensed that people were confused. When they gave the cat back to its owner, she almost killed it with hugs. The next task was just to help pick fruit from the trees. In total, there were about 50. Sakura started picking apples and Sasuke picked oranges. Naruto, on the other hand, put the rest of the fruit boxes in a row before making 47 copies of himself. They were done in 30 minutes because Naruto was multitasking. They finished all the tasks quickly and were done by 2 o'clock. The Hokage was very surprised by how fast they worked. "We want to have a harder mission," Naruto said. As Iruka started to scold Naruto, the Hokage sighed. When Team 7 came in, he was there giving the Hokage some papers. You are Genin, and even worse, you are newbies. The Hokage said, you still don't have enough experience to handle anything more difficult. Please give me a chance to talk, Hokage-sama. Iruka raised an eyebrow at what Naruto had said. The Hokage agreed because he knew that if he didn't, there would be a lot of fighting. I've seen enough Ds, and that was before people thought I was a ninja. Just look at my report card from school. Naruto mumbled something before going on. We're finishing the D-rank tasks pretty quickly, and since we need to be busy all day, there might not be enough for the others. We need a mission that will keep us busy and push us so we can get ready for tasks that are even harder. The Hokage smiled, but Iruka had to pick his jaw up off the floor. Sakura and Sasuke both had big eyes because they had never heard Naruto talk and sound smart. As Kakashi read his book, he laughed. That actually didn't sound stupid. Sasuke said, surprised. Naruto smiled and said, I'll take that as a compliment. Well, alright, you do make a good point. I'll give you a simple guard job at level C, which isn't very hard. Tomorrow, you will protect Master Bridge Builder Tazuna as he travels to Wave Country. The Hokage sent for him. Eh? Will these little brats be the ones to protect me? There's a spoiled brat, a fat lady, and a short person. At the comment, Sakura got angry and Sasuke's eye started to twitch, but Naruto stayed strangely calm. Kakashi took a step ahead. Yes, but I'm also a Junin, and I'll be going with you. As he took out a flask, the old man grunted. And you're a drunk, Sasuke said to Tazuna in a simple way, making him blink. Okay, can we stop being negative now? Naruto asked with a grin, which made everyone look at him strangely. In any case, you will start tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. the Hokage said, meet at the North Gate. Team 7 nodded. Don't bring anything extra, he said. Hey, Iruka? Naruto asked before leaving. Naruto, what is it? Could you take care of my house while I'm away? Iruka nodded. Naruto then did his Oroku no Jutsu. Thanks again, he or she said, and the two older men fell backwards because they were bleeding so much from their noses. Naruto ran after his team, laughing at his joke, knowing that his little follower was in the room.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.